Our goal, dear friends, is to highlight the universal aspect of this science of transformation or transmutation, which we call alchemy. Alchemy has really ancient origins. Its basic precepts have always been based on the goal of the transformation from impure to pure, from lead to gold. From ancient Egypt, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, an emblematic figure, inspired many of the following spiritual traditions, resurfacing in Alexandria and through the Hellenic schools, and subsequently in Christianity and the alchemical traditions. In China, alchemy was influenced by Taoism, so that the metals and the materials were traditionally classified into yin, feminine minus pole, and yang, masculine plus pole. It appears that the Chinese were already practicing alchemy from about 450 BC. Alchemical practices also existed in India as early as the 4th century BC. Some apprentice alchemists seem to have aimed to make gold from lead or silver as raw materials. However, they quickly gave up their experiments, which obviously did not bring any results in this direction. Dear friends, we all know that the quest for gold has always appeared in human history, in all times and places. And if we cover our temples, objects of worship, or statues with gold, it is because gold is the symbol of the spirit. Moreover, the traditions speak of the original human being as the child of the sun, the alchemical symbol for gold, a child of the spiritual fire. Alchemy is a spiritual process that takes place inside the human being. Alchemy is realized within us. It is an eternal process of regeneration by the original and universal light force, an electromagnetic field of very high vibration, which radiates around everything and everyone, and which comes from the universal force. Alchemy is considered to be the science of transformation base metals, lead, Saturn, into noble metals, gold, the spiritual sun. From the Middle Ages until the 18th century, alchemical symbols were used as a secret language to impart esoteric doctrines. The researchers in the realms of spirit performed alchemical experiments in this manner because they were finding in the domain of minerals and metals many analogies with the spiritual processes taking place within the human being. Alchemy is an inner science or a royal art. The alchemist must find these same alchemical elements in his, her own being. Such a process refers to the transformation of the blood, the nervous system, hormonal fluids, spinal fire, and consciousness, all which constitute the 5 elements of the natural soul. Viewing the terminology of alchemy through the lens of universal teachings, we should take into consideration the meaning of numbers, meaning which is fundamental for this teaching. Number 4, 3, 7, and 9. These numbers represent our reality as follows. Number 4, the 4 bodies of our personality. The physical body, chemical ether, the etheric body, vital ether, the astral body, light ether, and the mental body, reflecting ether. Number 3, the head, the heart, and the pelvis, the 3 centers or sanctuaries of our human consciousness. Number 7, the manifestation of our being, 4 bodies and 3 sanctuaries. Number 9, the triple renewal of the head, heart, and pelvis, the fulfillment of the divine being. This triple renewal will generate the manifestation of a personality entirely purified by the fire of the Holy Spirit. This, dear friends, is the real meaning and purpose of alchemy. The universal teachings, such as those of the modern Golden Rosicrucians, teach us that the 2 principles, the spirit spark atom, the true center of the human being, can be linked to the human consciousness in order to develop spiritual consciousness. These 2 principles transform the triangle of human consciousness: the mental life, the emotional life, and the desire and will, the animating force of our actions. Then follows the transformation of our 4 vehicles through the 4 pure etheric foods. A new mental body, a new astral body, a new etheric body, and a new physical body. Dear friends, the first stage in alchemy is to ignite the fire. Any process of change, whether in matter or in our consciousness, must begin with a purification by fire. The brimstone, sulfur, of consciousness must be subjected to fire. We all carry in our hearts a spark of this fire, a spirit spark atom, a seed of the spiritual gold. This is why, dear friends, the seeker in whom the rose of the heart shines for deliverance no longer desires to acquire anything for himself or herself. He, she can thus undertake the alchemical process. It is an aspiration for salvation that leads him, her, to detachment from a world imprisoned by an electromagnetic field of lower vibration that no longer satisfies him, her. Thus, he allows the flowing of this radiant divine atom, which can transcend this material reality. From this center, from this spark within, will be born and will grow a new soul and a new consciousness. As soon as the fire of the spirit spark creates a new vibration in the blood, the sternum begins to vibrate, and the thymus, dormant since childhood, starts up again and produces a new hormone. This is carried by the blood into the sanctuary of the head and causes an awakening in the consciousness. an awakened consciousness that makes us realize to what extent we are deluded and automatically react to external and internal forces. The light wells up in the soul. The head-heart connection is once again restored. The possibility of liberation finally presents itself. Dear friends, the process of transformation is not rejecting the earthly aspects of life, but transforming them. The old nature in us, the self, or what we call the ego, must diminish in order to allow the newly born soul to express itself. What is sometimes called the night of the soul, or the self-surrender of the ego.
And now, the birth of the new soul can happen. The 5 fluids of the soul, the hormonal fluid, nerve fluid, spinal or serpent fire, and the consciousness, as well as the blood, these are purified in the light of the new astral field. And so a new circulation occurs along the sympathetic and parasympathetic channels, which will now guide the candidate's life. The manifestation of the new nerve fluid is the building stone, or the cornerstone. The light force descends in the darkness of the sacral plexus by the right side of the sympathetic nerves to loosen the grip of the egocentric personality. The old ego consciousness, now decreasing, can leave room for the other one in us. So a new activity of the heart occurs. The natural instinct of self-preservation starts to be dissolved. It is therefore from possibilities of the renewing force of the spirit spark atom, from this principle of eternity in us, that a new soul and consciousness can be born. From within this newly energized and independently active soul, forged in the great alchemical laboratory that is the human being, that forces of eternity interpenetrate for the reconstruction of a new body soul. A new functioning of the human system is being now established. The light can go up through the left side of the spinal cord of the central nervous system to the brain. This is the time of self-surrender, neutrality and objectivity towards all things in life, be they inside or outside ourselves, will greatly support the circulation of the light. There is nothing we can do to control this process except let it happen. This is a moment where we can say, Lord, not my will, but your will be done. The fire of the Spirit carefully separates the pure from the impure, and thus releases the active forces which are held in base matter. This separation is done by the new soul, which removes from the old soul what was corrupted from its sleep of delusion in this nature order of life, so that to transform it from mortal to immortal. This phase can be long and requires from the candidate the desire for and insight into the process, patience and perseverance, which in turn will increase the desire and insight. As in an alchemical laboratory, several stages of distillation and recrystallization are necessary to purify the materials. So several cycles of descent and ascent in the sympathetic system are necessary to separate the subtle from the gross, the volatile from the fixed. Thus, the 5 fluids of the soul, blood, nerve fluid, hormonal, spinal fire, and new consciousness, are purified by this circulating light. The final purification is the sublimation of the soul. The rose becomes a red rose, manifesting the new activity of the liver, which captures new astral forces, and thereby comes the renewal of the blood. This is the alchemical wedding of the spirit. The new soul causes the light to spring up in the sanctuary of the head. The red king rises, the sulfur of the philosophers arises. It is the Spirit of God descending. It is the feast of light. The head-heart connection is made. The light being is born. From the perfect marriage of the soul and the spirit is born a new and celestial personality in the fire of love, the soul of the secret universal fire, called quintessence. The new being is clothed in the golden mantle of the wedding, and the rose has now the color of gold of divinity. The healing of the new caduceus has taken shape with its wings as a phoenix bird. From the capacity and cooperation of the old personality, the new personality has been realized. It is from such a miraculous work that the reconstruction of the spirit soul man is accomplished. The candidate is clothed now in the golden wedding garment, a luminous, transfigured etheric body. The philosopher's stone is no longer a myth, but a living reality, here and now, for eternity. Dear friends, let us now summarize the stages of the Rosicrucian alchemy, starting from the spirit spark atom. A purification of the free centers of our being can take place. The heart, head, and pelvis thus form the triangle of consciousness as a top of the pyramid. Then, in these purified centers of thinking, feeling, and action, 4 pure ethers can be received, new pure ethers. These ethers are the chemical ether for the physical, which will be used for the physical body, the vital ether used for the etheric body, light ether for the astral body and reflecting ether for the mental body, thus forming the base of the pyramid, the foundation square of the building. Finally, from the immutable kingdom, symbolized by the circle of eternity, the light of the Spirit, the Christ force, as the fire ether, will descend as in a spiral. Immediately, the radical change of the whole being takes place. This is called transfiguration, the birth of a new immortal being clothed with divine gold. The spirit soul man is now accomplished. This is the summary, the quintessence of the alchemical work in the human being. And this is why the symbol of the golden Rosicrucian is the synthesis of Rosicrucian alchemy.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you wish to support us in reaching more people, like our posts, rate us with 5 stars on iTunes, leave a positive comment where you can, or share our content on your social media.